Hello, welcome back to Big Bear Automations. It's day 5 of learning n8n in a year. If you're not familiar with this series, I'm doing a YouTube every day where we are slowly building up our knowledge of n8n from very, very basic all the way up to advanced. A little bit about me, I've got 10 years of experience working in front-end, back-end coding. I've been lead of teams, etc. But I'm stripping all that away to go back to basics and learn with you all the way through to advanced AI agent stuff, which will be really cool towards the end of the year. I suggest you go back to day 1 if you haven't already, because we've set up self-hosted n8n and all this sort of stuff. So you need to get all that prepared before you carry on with the series. I'll put the link on the screen somewhere. And today we are looking at day 5, and we're going to create our first workflow and send a test email. This is going to be quick, high level, just to show you how it's done. For a very simple sending of an email when we click trigger and labeling that email to go to the right label. Very high level again, just show you how it all works, or how it all strings together. And then as we go through the days, we're going to start looking at more in-depth, like every trigger that there is, every node that there is, and start building out our knowledge. But today we're just going for a very quick, fast, showing you what a workflow can do. So let's head over to our n8n and open up our first workflow again and clear out anything that you've been messing around with, and we'll start again. So we're just going to manually trigger it, and we all know now that a trigger is what starts our workflow. We're just going to manually trigger this workflow for now, but we will talk through the other triggers at a later day. So we need to create a new workflow from scratch, which we've done. Add a manual trigger, which we've done. Add an email node. Okay, so I'm going to use Gmail. You may use other ones, but all you need to do is search for Gmail, and we want to send a message. Now in here, we've got credentials and other options that we need to talk through. Again, we're not going to spend too much time doing this, but you will have no credentials here. So you just create a new one and go through your auth recommended, and then you can't get to it, so you go open docs, and this will teach you how to do your Google node. You need to go through your Google Cloud account, which we're going to have a look at. And go to this one. Yep. Can have a look at the console. And there are 5 steps to connecting your n8 credential to Google services. You need to create a Google Cloud Console project, which we will do once Google loads. We need to enable our APIs. We need to configure your OAuth consent screen and create your Google OAuth client credentials, and then finish with your n8n credential. Okay. So let's just log in here. Being nice and slow today. Get my phone. I love my editing, guys. We're going to do it all together. So just get on my phone. Put in my fingerprint. Okay, and that's logged us in. So n8n safe host, so I've already done it, but what we're going to do is do another one. So in here, put n8n self-hosting. I'm going to create that project. It takes a bit of time. We're going to enable. Okay, so we go to this project. We're going to enable our APIs and services. So go to the left-hand side, go down to API and services. We're going to go to library. and we're going to search for and select APIs you want to enable. For example, for the Gmail node, search for the Gmail API. Perfect. Well, that's exactly what we need. So if we search that in there, click this one. Enable. And then some integration. Okay. Select enable. Configure your OAuth consent screen. If you haven't used OAuth in your Google Cloud project before, you need to configure your consent screen. So go to the library APIs OAuth consent screen. There you go. So we go to APIs and services, go to OAuth consent screen, and select get started. I will put this link into the description, but it's part of the docs when you do the servicing stuff, but we'll see. Okay. It's nice and slow for us. Okay, get started. App name, so we're just going to call it n8n test. Put my email address in. Only available to users within the organization. Contact information. Again, we're going to put in the email address. I agree. Finish and create. Okay, so app name, user or for the audience, select internal. That's fine. Select the email address. Let's now select branding authorized domain section. Okay, Google should use that. Okay, so then we go over to read and accept the Google. Select in the left hand, select branding. In the authorized domain, select add domain. Okay, in the branding, app domain, authorized domain, we're going to add domain, and we're going to put in, if you're using n8n Cloud, add that. If you're self-hosting, add the domain of your n8n instance. Okay. So we're going to use that. So you would put in your domain there, or your n8n that you've got from render. And we're going to save that. Select slave at the bottom, create your Google OAuth client credentials. Okay. Saved. We're then going to go back to here. We're going to go to API and services, and we're going to go to credentials. We're going to select credential, say that, select plus credential. Okay. And we're going to do OAuth client ID. In the application type drop down, select web application. We're going to call that n8n test. n8n test. From your n8n credential, copy the OAuth redirect. Okay, so here's your OAuth redirect here. So you just click copy, put that into your authorized redirect URLs here, and create. Here's your client ID. And there's your client secret. Okay, so then you come over here, paste in your client ID. I will delete these obviously because you shouldn't have these, shouldn't be shared, so don't share these with people, but for this purpose only. I'll show you, but I will delete these afterwards. And then we're going to sign in with Google. You want to choose the one that you're signed in with. So you'll have a little pop-up which you can't see, but there's a pop-up that says sign into your Gmail, connection successful. And then you got your account created. Perfect. So now you should have your credentials here. So you put that in, message source we want to send, and we're going to send a test email to myself. Automations.com. We're going to say this is a test subject, and this is a test message. Just have it as text. Okay. So we're going to test that. Did that work? It did. So it has sent the message, and here's our ID. Now, I also want to add a label to it so that I can find it easy and show you where it is. So you want to add label to message. Gmail, message, add label. What's the message ID? Well, here's the ID that's created from the previous node. Drop that in there. And then what label do I want, which is the n8n test one. We're going to test that step, and boom, output. Okay, so then if I go over to my emails, I should have an email from myself saying test message with the test subject. Perfect. Okay, so let's see this all in one. Test workflow. Bang, sent the message, added the label. We go back, sent the message, added the label. Quite a simple one, but you're getting the gist of it's all connected, all links together. You can do one thing and the next. Very simple. You understand now how to add your Google credential, but we will go through credentials a bit more in depth. I know that was fast paced, but the idea was just to show you the concept of starting and finishing through your workflow and what that looks like. You've then got your executions. So you can go look and see what happened. Again, we'll go through this a bit more in the later days, but you can go and copy to the editor and see what happened for that workflow and all that sort of stuff, which is really cool. Okay, so now we know that we can trigger and test a workflow very simply. We can add a credential for Gmail at least, and follow the documentation, and we can add labels and send messages via the Gmail nodes. Again, we'll save that. Very simple, very quick, but it's just an overview today to show you what that looks like. Thank you for watching day 5. Please subscribe, it helps and it keeps me going. If you need any help with your n8n instance or you need an n8n admin, please reach out to the email address that's in the picture. And thank you again for your support. Look out for day 6.